American traders panic, European traders overthink. Japanese traders, they sit, they breathe, they execute. While Western traders are drowning in indicators, Japanese masters follow one ancient principle that's been destroying market chaos for 400 years. Here's something that will change how you see trading forever. The Japanese have been trading organized markets since 1600. Rice futures, the world's first commodity exchange. While the West was still figuring out basic commerce, Japanese traders were developing psychological frameworks so powerful they're still being used today to generate millions. But here's what nobody tells you. These aren't strategies, they're not systems. They're not indicators or patterns or technical setups, they're ways of being. Mental disciplines that turn ordinary people into unshakable market executors. Today, you're going to learn what they know. The 5 ancient principles that make Japanese traders some of the calmest, most disciplined, and most profitable traders in the world. And why your Western trading education, with all its complexity and analysis and information overload, might be the exact thing holding you back. By the end of this, you'll understand why panic is a choice, not a condition, why simplicity beats complexity, and why the most profitable traders in the world look like they're doing nothing most of the time. Let's start with 2 traders, same markets, same opportunities, completely different worlds. Marcus is 35, American, former software engineer. Brilliant guy. When he discovered trading, he attacked it like every other problem he'd solved, with more data, more analysis, more optimization. His setup is impressive. 3 monitors, 47 indicators, real-time news feeds, economic calendars, social media sentiment trackers, level 2 data, order flow analysis. His desk looks like mission control at NASA. Every morning Marcus wakes up at 5 a.m., checks Asian markets, reads overnight news, studies pre-market movements. By the time New York opens, he's consumed 3 hours of information, and his head is spinning with possibilities. He takes his first trade at 9:32. It moves against him immediately. His heart rate spikes. He checks the news. Did he miss something? He looks at his other indicators, mixed signals. He moves his stop loss, giving it room to breathe. The trade keeps dropping. He closes it manually at a bigger loss than planned. By noon, Marcus has taken 18 trades, 12 losers, 6 winners. Net result, down $400 and emotionally exhausted. His shoulders are tight, his jaw is clenched. He feels like he's been in a street fight. This is Tuesday, every week. For 3 years, Marcus has blown through 5 accounts totaling $80,000. Not because he's stupid, not because he doesn't understand markets, because he's fighting a war that can't be won with weapons that don't work. Now meet Takeshi. Takeshi is Keishi, 42, Japanese, institutional trader for a major Tokyo firm. He's been trading the same strategy for 15 years. He makes millions. And if you watched him trade, you'd think he was the most boring person alive. Takeshi wakes up at 6 a.m., not to check markets, to meditate. 20 minutes of silent sitting. No thoughts about trading, no analysis, just breathing, present. Calm, empty. At 7, he reviews his one chart. Not 47 indicators. 1. A simple price chart with clean support and resistance levels. He's looking for one pattern. The same pattern he's traded for 15 years. Either it's there or it isn't. Most days, it isn't. So Takeshi does nothing. He reads, he exercises. He spends time with his family. He lives his life. The market will be there tomorrow. And the day after, and the day after that. But when his setup appears, something shifts. Takeshi becomes completely focused. He doesn't hesitate. He doesn't second guess. He doesn't check the news or seek confirmation. He sees his pattern, he executes his plan, and then he lets go of the outcome completely. Win or lose, his emotional state doesn't change, because the result of one trade means nothing. What matters is that he saw his setup and executed according to his rules. That's success. Everything else is just noise. Last year, Takeshi took 63 trades. 63. That's about 5 per month. His win rate was 42%, but his average winner was 3 times his average loser. His account grew by 38%, and he never once felt the panic, the stress, or the emotional chaos that Marcus experiences every single day. Same markets, same price movements, same opportunities. 2 completely different experiences, Two completely different results. The difference isn't intelligence, it's not education or capital or access to information. The difference is philosophy, the way they think about trading, about markets, about themselves. Marcus operates from Western trading philosophy. More information equals better decisions. More analysis equals more edge. More trades equals more opportunities. Control the outcome. Predict the future. Be right. Takeshi operates from Japanese trading philosophy. Less is more. Simplicity over complexity. Patience over action. Flow with the market. Don't fight it. Accept uncertainty. Execute without attachment. These aren't just different approaches, they're opposite worldviews. And one of them produces consistent profits while the other produces consistent pain. Let me show you the 5 ancient principles that make Japanese traders different. These aren't new concepts. They've been part of Japanese culture for centuries, applied to everything from martial arts to tea ceremony to business. And they work in trading because trading, at its core, is about mastering yourself, not mastering the market. Principle 1. MUSHIN, the empty mind. MUSHIN is a Zen concept that means no mind, or mind without mind. In martial arts, it's the state where you react without thinking, move without planning, execute without ego getting in the way. In trading, MUSHIN means executing your plan without your emotions, predictions, or need to be right interfering with the process. You become the plan. Not someone trying to follow the plan. Not someone hoping the plan works. You are the plan in action. Western traders trade with full minds. Every trade carries the weight of their analysis, their predictions, their hopes, their fears. I think this will go up because of XYZ. I hope this works because I need to make back yesterday's loss. I'm scared this might fail like the last 3 trades. All of that mental noise destroys execution. Because when your mind is full of thoughts and emotions, you can't see clearly. You can't act decisively. You hesitate. You second guess. You override your rules because your emotions are louder than your discipline. Japanese traders practice MUSHIN. They don't trade with opinions. They trade with observations. They don't hope. They execute. They don't attach their identity to the outcome. They simply do what their system says to do, and then they let the market decide the result. This is why Takeshi can take a loss and feel nothing. His mind isn't full of "I was wrong" or "I failed" or "the market is unfair." His mind is empty. He executed his plan. The market went a different direction. Neither of these facts carries emotional weight. They're just information. MUSHIN is the hardest principle for Western traders to grasp because we're taught that thinking more equals performing better. But in trading, thinking during execution is poison. All the thinking should happen before the trade. Once you're in, you execute like a machine. No mind, just action. Principle 2. Ma, the power of space. Ma is the Japanese concept of negative space. The gap, the pause, the silence between notes in music, the empty space in a painting. In Japanese aesthetics, Ma is considered as important as the object itself, sometimes more important. In trading, Ma is the space between trades, the hours, days, or weeks when you do absolutely nothing. Western traders see this as wasted time. Japanese traders see it as where discipline lives. Think about it. Marcus takes 30 trades a day. He's always in motion, always acting, always doing something, and he's losing. Takeshi takes 5 trades a month. He spends 95% of his time doing nothing, and he's making millions. The difference is Ma, the understanding that the space between trades isn't empty. It's full of patience, full of discipline, full of power. Western trading culture glorifies action. Trading influencers posting screenshots of 20 trades a day, gurus teaching scalping systems that require constant execution. The message is clear. More trades equals more profits. Do something. Stay active. Don't miss opportunities. But this is backwards. In markets, doing nothing is often the most profitable action, because most of the time, there is no edge. Most price movements are random noise. Most setups are marginal at best. The real opportunities, the high probability moments that justify risking capital, are rare. Japanese traders understand this deeply. They don't trade to feel productive. They trade when their specific edge appears. The rest of the time, Ma. Empty space. Waiting without anxiety. watching without urgency. Present but inactive. This is psychological mastery most Western traders never develop. Because sitting still while markets move feels like you're missing something. Your brain screams that opportunities are passing. Your ego demands that you do something to prove you're a trader. But Takeshi has trained his mind to be comfortable in Ma. He doesn't need to trade to feel like a trader. He doesn't need action to feel productive. He's willing to sit for weeks waiting for his one setup, knowing that patience is his edge, not his enemy. Principle 3. Gaman, enduring dignity. Gaman is one of the most important concepts in Japanese culture. It means enduring the unbearable with patience and dignity, suffering without complaint, persisting through hardship without emotional display. In World War II, Japanese soldiers practiced gaman. In business, Japanese workers practice gaman. In trading, Japanese traders practice gaman through the inevitable losing streaks that destroy Western traders psychologically. Marcus takes 3 losses in a row and spirals. He questions his strategy. He searches for what's broken. He considers quitting. 3 losses feel catastrophic to him because he hasn't developed gaman. Takeshi can take 15 losses in a row and his emotional state doesn't change. Not because he's emotionless, but because he understands that losing is part of the process. His system wins 42% of the time. That means he expects to lose 58%. 15 losses in a row? Painful, yes, but within normal variance. Nothing to panic about. This is gaman, the discipline to endure what feels unbearable without breaking your process. The strength to keep executing your plan when everything in you wants to quit or change or do something different. Western trading education doesn't teach this. It teaches you to optimize, to improve, to fix what's broken. But sometimes nothing is broken. Sometimes the market is just being the market. Sometimes you're in a losing streak not because your system failed, but because that's what happens in a probability-based game. Gammon means you endure. You don't complain to Twitter about manipulation. You don't blame algorithms or whales or unfair market conditions. You simply accept that this is the price of playing the game, and you keep showing up. The Japanese have a saying, fall down 7 times, stand up 8. That's gaman. That's the discipline that separates those who survive from those who quit before they ever see their edge play out. Principle 4. Kaizen, continuous improvement. Kaizen literally means change for better. It's the philosophy of continuous incremental improvement, not revolutionary change, not dramatic transformation, just 1% better every day. Toyota built an empire on Kaizen. Japanese manufacturers dominated global markets using Kaizen, and Japanese traders apply Kaizen to develop edges that compound over decades. Western traders want the breakthrough, the holy grail, the perfect system that never loses. They jump from strategy to strategy, always searching for the magic bullet. 6 months on trend following, 3 months on mean reversion, 2 weeks on scalping. Nothing sticks because they're seeking perfection, not progression. Japanese traders practice Kaizen. Takeshi has traded the same strategy for 15 years, but he's not trading it the same way he did in year 1. Every year, he makes tiny adjustments, slightly tighter entry criteria, marginally better position sizing, fractionally improved risk management. These improvements are almost invisible. 1% better here, 0.5% better there. But over 15 years, 1% compounds into massive edge. His system today is substantially better than his system a decade ago, not because he revolutionized it, but because he evolved it. This requires patience Western traders don't have. Because 1% improvement doesn't feel significant. It doesn't give you the dopamine hit of discovering a new strategy. It's boring, unsexy, incremental, but boring compounds. Sexy doesn't. The trader who improves their system 1% per year for 15 years will demolish the trader who changes their entire approach 15 times in 15 years. Kaizen is also about process improvement, not just system improvement. Takeshi doesn't just refine his strategy, he refines himself, his morning routine, his meditation practice, his journaling discipline, his physical health, his mental resilience. Every area, 1% better. Over time, these tiny improvements create a trader who is fundamentally different than who he was when he started. Not because of one dramatic transformation, but because of thousands of small upgrades that compound into mastery. Principle 5. SHOSHIN, beginner's mind. SHOSHIN means beginner's mind. It's the Zen concept of approaching everything with openness, eagerness, and lack of preconceptions, just as a beginner would. even when you're an expert. This is perhaps the most counterintuitive principle because Western culture values expertise and confidence. We're taught to become experts, to know the answers, to be certain. But in trading, certainty is death. The market is always teaching, always evolving, always presenting new patterns, new behaviors, new dynamics. If you approach it with expert mind, thinking you know what will happen, you stop learning, you stop adapting, you become rigid. Takeshi has traded for 15 years. He's a master. But every day, he approaches the market with SHOSHIN. He doesn't assume he knows what will happen. He doesn't predict with confidence. He observes with curiosity. What is the market showing me today? What can I learn from this price action? How is this different from yesterday? These are beginner questions, but they keep him sharp. They keep him adaptable. They prevent the arrogance that destroys expert traders who think they've figured it all out. Marcus operates from expert mind. He's studied for 3 years. He knows technical analysis. He understands market structure. He's confident in his predictions. And this confidence blinds him. He doesn't see what the market is actually doing. He sees what he expects to see. And when reality contradicts his expectations, he fights it instead of learning from it. Shoshin prevents this trap. It keeps you humble, open, willing to be wrong, willing to learn. Even after decades of experience, you maintain the curiosity and openness of someone who just started. This is why the best traders never stop learning, not because they don't know enough, but because they understand that markets are infinite teachers and they are eternal students. Now let me show you what happens when someone actually applies these principles. Not in theory, in reality. David was Marcus, American retail trader, overtrading, overthinking, constantly stressed, blowing accounts. He discovered Takeshi through a documentary about Japanese institutional traders. Something clicked. Not the strategy, the philosophy. David made a radical decision. He flew to Tokyo, found a mentor who'd studied under traditional Japanese traders, spent 6 months not learning new strategies, but unlearning Western trading psychology. The transformation wasn't dramatic. It was KAIZEN. Small shifts, compounded daily. He started meditating. 15 minutes every morning before looking at charts. Practicing MUSHIN. Empty mind. No predictions. Just presence. He stripped his screens from 3 monitors and 47 indicators down to 1 screen and 1 clean price chart. Embracing simplicity. Trusting Ma. The power of space over the addiction to action. He reduced his trading from 30 trades a day to 3 trades per week. Then 3 trades per month. Not because he couldn't find setups, because he was only taking the absolute best ones. Patience over activity. He stopped fighting, losing streaks, stopped questioning his system after 3 losses, started practicing GAMAN, enduring the natural variance without emotional collapse. He stopped searching for new strategies, committed to mastering one approach, 1% better every month, KAIZEN over revolution, and most importantly, he maintained SHOSHIN. Even as he improved, he approached every trading day as a beginner, curious, open, willing to learn. The results? In his first year applying Japanese principles, David had his first profitable year. Not because he found a better strategy, because he became a better trader. Calmer. More. Disciplined. Less reactive. More patient. His win rate was 43%, or worse than most Western traders claim they need. But his risk management was flawless. His position sizing was consistent. His discipline was unbreakable. And the math worked exactly as it should when you execute a positive expectancy system without emotional interference. David stopped being Marcus. He didn't become Takeshi. But he became someone who understood what the Japanese have known for 400 years. Trading success is not about predicting markets, it's about mastering yourself. So here's what this means for you. Right now, you're probably trading like Marcus, consuming too much information, taking too many trades, letting emotions drive decisions, fighting the market instead of flowing with it, making trading harder than it needs to be. The Japanese principles offer a different path, not an easier path, but a clearer one. MUSHIN, trade without ego. Ma, embrace doing nothing. GAMAN, endure the grind. KAIZEN, improve 1% at a time. SHOSHIN, stay humble, stay learning. These aren't quick fixes. They're not hacks. They're disciplines that require practice, daily practice, for months, for years, for decades. That's why most Western traders will never adopt them. Too slow, too boring, too much work without immediate payoff. But for those who do, the transformation is profound, not just in your trading results, in how you experience trading. The stress disappears, the panic fades, the chaos settles into calm. You stop fighting and start flowing. You stop forcing and start allowing. You become, in the truest sense, a trader who can execute without attachment to outcome. The market doesn't speak English or Japanese. It speaks probability. It speaks mathematics. It speaks psychology. But only one culture has figured out how to listen without the noise of ego, emotion, and expectation drowning out the signal. 400 years of trading wisdom. 5 principles that transform chaos into clarity. The choice is yours. Keep trading like Marcus, fighting a war you can't win with weapons that don't work. Or start training like Takeshi, mastering yourself instead of trying to master the market. The Japanese traders aren't magic. They're not superhuman. They simply stopped making trading about being right and started making it about being disciplined. They stopped measuring success by money made today and started measuring it by rules followed today. They stopped fighting uncertainty and started flowing with it. Panic is a choice. Chaos is a choice. Complexity is a choice. You can choose differently. You can choose MUSHIN, GAMAN, KAIZEN, SHOSHIN. You can choose the path that's been creating profitable, calm, unshakable traders for centuries. The market will still be there tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that. The question is, will you still be in the game, or will you be another Western trader who burned out fighting battles that didn't need to be fought? Trade like a samurai, win like a master. The ancient secret isn't secret anymore. Now it's just a choice. Your move.